So today we are going to discuss about how to organize the data in the default settings and about combined fields. So yeah, these are the topics that we are going to discuss. So how to organize the data pane and usage of calculation fields, and what are the type of calculations that are available, and representation of calculations and use of calculations in the view, and how to edit a calculated field. So let me show you how to organize the data in a pane. So, so Tableau will automatically segregate few of the things like uh, how the dimensions is segregated and how the measures are segregated. So Tableau will automatically know which column is string, which column is date, which column is a geolocation. So that all information Tableau will automatically identify. So yeah, so grouping the fields in folders. So to make data sources with many fields. So in our sample data, we have only like 10 or 20 columns, but in real-time data, we might be end up having 100 to 300 columns like that. So in such cases, what do we do is we group the fields in such a way so that it's easy to take the columns from the data. So to make data sources with many fields easier to work with, so we need to organize the data pane items into folders. So items like fields. So fields are nothing but dimensions or measures which are coming from the data source. So whatever data that we prepare. So let's say I will show you a sample one. So this is our Excel data. So this is the data that we have. Like let's say these are the columns. These are the 9 columns that are going to be there in your data set or in the Tableau. So these 9 columns you don't need to set up into a folder, but if you have hundreds of columns, then it's good to keep it in a folder manner so that it's easy to pick up the columns. So you can reorganize the items in the data pane from its default layout using folders or through sorting. So now let's see how we can create folders. So by default, there are some folders which are already there for country, region, state, and all. So now let's see. I want to create these two into one folder. So just right click on this, create group by folder. So click on group by folder. So here you can create a folder. Click on this and put ship folder. So whatever related to shipping, you can keep in this folder. I'll just remove from folder. So I want to keep only ship date and ship mode. So right click on ship date, go to folders and add to existing folder. Or so if you create a new folder, so this ship date will go into that new folder. But I want to move this ship date into ship folder, which is already created by me. And ship mode, and I click on this, and move. So you can see ship related information in one folder. And if you want to remove this from this, go to folders and remove from folder. So this is the process to maintain in an order. So in this way, we can remove the folders as well. So in that way, we can organize the data pane. So it is just to organize the data pane. So this will not have any impact in the data that we show. So it is just to understand where the columns are exactly and to pick up the columns. So if you see location related information, everything is set up in one folder. And there is also about hierarchy. So in normal folder, what happens if I create a folder, ship information. In normal folder, what happens? So it will only act like a normal values. So if I put ship mode, ship date, so it will act like normal columns only. But in case of hierarchy, what happens is, so if I put country, so in a hierarchical order, so hierarchy is nothing but, so let's say we have manager. Under manager, there will be some supervisors. So one manager, or we can write here, one manager. Under that manager, we have 10 supervisors. And for each supervisor, we have 100 employees. So this is the hierarchy. So it starts with manager. From manager to supervisor, there are 10 supervisors under this manager. Under each supervisor, there are 100 employees. So that is 10 into 100, 1000 employees are working. 10 into 100. So there are 1000 employees. And in case of country region also, so in the same way, we have hierarchy like, let's take an example of country India. Under country, we have states, which are 29 states. So under each and every state, there are some number of districts that are there. So if you take an example of Telangana, we have somewhere around 21 states. Sorry, 21 districts. So like this. And it can continue till, like, under each and every district, there are cities. Cities, postal codes. So this is the hierarchy. Like, it starts from the higher level to the lower level. So I'll show you that example in the real time. So if you expand this, so in country, we will be having states or regions. So after that regions, you will be able to see. So in our country also, we have South India and North India, like that. We have regions for different countries also. So in Canada and United States, we have Central, East, West, and North, South. So that information. And if I expand it more, so I will be able to see the states in that particular regions. And if I expand it more, I will be able to see cities. And it has information till postal codes. So how this is created in Tableau? So right click on any of the dimension, go to hierarchy. You can add to hierarchy or you can create a new hierarchy. So in that way, they have created a location hierarchy and they have kept all these columns. And you can sort it based on your requirement. So basically, as we know, in countries, after that states will come, then cities, then postal codes. So in that way, we need to arrange. Otherwise, if you want to change the sorting also, you can change. So in real time, what happens is, if you click on this, countries will come. Earlier, when you had this one, so when you click on this, you got region, but now you will get state. Instead of getting region, you will get state. Why? Because we have changed the order. But as we know, country comes first, then the region comes. So we need to keep it in a certain order. So you can remove from hierarchy like this. Removing from hierarchy is based on the right click and select hierarchy, and you can remove it from the hierarchy. So, and it will go to the normal order. So that is the main difference between folder and hierarchy. So by seeing what you will understand, even hierarchy is also making a folder and keeping the fields in that folder. In folder also, it's keeping the data fields together. But in case of hierarchy, we will get this icon to expand or collapse, so that you can see what is the granular data that we have, so that we can drill down to the lowest level as well, like to region, to state, to city, to postal code. So you can drill down to the lowest level. So that's the way. So that is about hierarchy and folder. Now let's go to, yeah. So grouping is nothing but you can just whenever you have data, so you need to group and organize the data pane. So when we connect to any single table, so it comes in an so you can group it by folder. But when you have multiple tables, so it will by default by group by table will be enabled. So if you have multiple tables in your data, so if you are connecting to multiple tables, let me show you one table. So if you are connecting to Superstore, because here you have connected to multiple tables. So orders, Superstore and everything. Let's go to one worksheet. So you have this different tables. So if you see sample superstores, you have orders, people, return. So the organizing the data pane, so it has organized like data source table wise. And later you can put the orders in your way, like you can select that and create a folder, and then you can put it in the folders. You click on group by folder and then click on create folder. So you need to select first how do you want to group. If you want to group based on the data source table, then you can't create any folder. So if you want to group it by folder, you select that and select create folders. So in that way, we can create the folders. Otherwise, this option won't be enabled until unless you click on group by folder. So that is about when the group by data source table option is selected. So in the earlier versions, the dimensions and measures are grouped according to the database table. So we used to see dimensions in one folder and measures in one folder, but in the in the updated versions, you don't see that segregation. So you just see this uh, values and all, these icons, these small icons. With these small icons, we should be able to identify what that belongs to. So if you see a calendar symbol, that means it's a date, then it's a dimension. And if you see ABC, it is a descriptive one. Then also we can call it as a dimension, as this is a string. So wherever you see geolocations, all these are like descriptive names. So these are dimensions, and calendar is a dimension, ABC is a dimension. So this is a group. So pinning together. So that's why they mention it as a pin symbol. So ABC nothing but string. Okay, so bin. So in the earlier classes, we have created a histogram chart. So bins are mainly used to create a histogram chart. So that's why they are representing it with a histogram. So this is a symbol for set, and these are the symbols for number, and this is a calculation field. When you see equal to before anything, even for ABC, for geolocations and all, so if you see equal to symbol, that means it's a calculation field, which is not coming from the data source directly. So these are the latitude, longitude, auto-generated fields in Tableau. And these are the count of each and every table, orders, people, count, returns. So all these are the count from different tables. So group by options are only available for relational data sources, not for multidimensional cube. So when you connect to multidimensional cubes, so the group by option is not available. Now let's go to next slide. So in the data pane, select the fields you want to group together or right click on any empty area in the data pane. So to create this folder, so these are the steps that you need to follow to create any folder. So drag a field on top of the folder name to add the field to the folder if the folder is expanded. So there is an option also, so you can directly pull up any column and you can put it there. Or if you want to remove, you can just drag and drop the columns that you want to put in a hierarchy, or if you want to put it in a folder, you just need to drag and push it in that hierarchy or on the folder. So that's the process. Combined fields. So now let's see how to use combined fields. So in sometimes what we have is in data we'll get name, first name, and last name. Okay, sometimes this will come as combined field, and sometimes it will come as two different values. So as per the requirements, whatever client asks for, then we should be doing as per the client request. So let's go to the dashboard. Let's go to the dashboard and let's pick up customer name. Okay, so this is the customer name. So customer name has first name and last name. So if it is there as a first name and last name, and you want to see first name to be splitted, so we can click on transform and say split. So based on the space between two names, so it has split it into two names. So you can take one of the name. Okay, so you see the first name got separated. Aaron, Adam, Adrian, all these first names got separated like this. So there are three people with Aaron as a first name, and you can see the split two. The second name. So second name is not same for everyone. First name and last name. Okay. So that's about how to split it. And in some cases, what happens, you get the data like first name and last name separately. But in the requirement, you want client requirement is to keep them together. So you just control select these two. Just right click on this and create combined field. So what it does is basically it combines like this. So take this. So it combined with a comma separated value. So we can edit that. So click on edit combined field So I don't want comma to be there. I want dash. Then say apply. Like this you can keep, or if you want space also, you can put space. Separate members by. So in this way, we can split and we can combine. So split and combine. So you don't need to write any calculation to split or to combine the fields. So these are two options that are available. So you can just directly split the columns, and so if you see the split calculation, so it automatically writes this query. So when I did this customer name and click on transform and do a split, so it automatically written this calculation. So even we can write manually the split calculation. So to split the calculation like this, first name, last name separately, we use this split function. And to combine, you just need to select those two columns or three columns and right click and create combined field. So that you can combine it like this, and you can separate by comma or space or whichever separation that you want to. So that is about how to create a combined field. So with that also we can make few of the charts. So let's create one chart, combined field, and take not only customer name, we can also combine customer name with some subcategory. So let's create a combined field. So I can see the name and the subcategory combined together. And if I want to see sales by region, so like this I can see. So this is the information that is available for each and every customer name and some subcategory combined together. So this is for combined and split. And we can also use the split columns that we have written, custom name split, customer name. So like this, we can use split columns. So these are the two dimensions. Okay. So in the image that you see, so there are two dimensions which are combined together. Okay. So there are some fields that we need to hide in the data. Let's say now I'm using only few of the columns like customer name and subcategory. So only those columns that I'm using. So I can hide, let's say if you click on this, so if I say hide all unused fields, so it will hide all unused fields from the data, and I will see only the columns that I'm using. So mostly we are using customer name and customer name splits, and we are using subcategory. So that way we can hide the columns, or you can just directly click on this and hide the columns. As this is getting used in the worksheet, so you can't hide it until unless you remove it from the worksheet. So this is to improve the performance. This is to improve the performance, of the dashboard by hiding the unused fields. So by hiding the unused fields, we will be improving the performance of the Tableau. So if you want to do unhide, you just click on this show hidden fields. So in this way we can unhide, and right click on this, click on unhide, so that other until unless you unhide this option, so you can't use it in dashboard. So you can't drag it. So I'm not able to drag it. So if you want to drag it, you just need to click on each and every column and say unhide. So this is the process where we can, to improve the performance and all. So you just need to select these columns and remove the unused columns from the dashboard. So in that way, we can improve the performance of the dashboard. Okay, and there are some default settings in Tableau. So let's say when you drag anything into the dashboard. So if I drag sales into the dashboard, so you are getting sum as an aggregation. But not only sum, there are many aggregations that are available. But why it is giving us sum is, so basically they have defaulted to sum. So if you want that default settings to be changed, so if in your organization you are mostly using average or min max or some other aggregation function mostly, then you can change that default property to some other default property. Like when you drag this sum of sales, you don't want to see aggregation with sum, you want to see with average. So you change the default property of that particular column. So right click on that measure and select default properties and aggregation and click on average. So now let's see. So if you double click on this sales, so now you will be able to see average as a default aggregation. So whenever you drop this in the entire dashboard, so you will see average sales. So in that way, so whenever you drag any dimension or something like that, so you'll be see region-wise sales average. So that information you will be able to see. And there are some other default properties as well. So let's discuss about that. So right click on this, click on this, and you have color. So in shift mode, we have these options: first class, same day, second class, standard. So whenever you drop this shift mode into colors box, so you will get these colors. But I want to see some different colors. We can see whatever colors you want to see. So let me go here, put shift mode, and sales, and I'll take bubble chart. So for bubble chart, you will be getting these colors, and I want to change that, or you can change it manually here. You can change it manually also, but whenever I drop, I want to see some specific colors. So default properties, if I go here, color wise, so I can change the colors, and in the entire dashboard, whenever I drop shift mode, I will get these colors only. So in that way, I can set the colors and go to default properties and click on shape. So by default, you will be able to see these shapes. And if you want to change those shapes, so you can just click on this and you want to keep it different symbol. So that way you can use the shapes. So let's say I'll keep this. So I want to see for every ship mode, I want to see a different shape. So that also by default nature I can change. So in the entire dashboard, I want to see different shapes. And like this, I can see. So that is the process to change some default properties, and we can also sort it. So let's say if I'm dropping this in this way, so you have it in a chronological order or alphabetical order, but I want to see in a different way. Default properties sort. So whenever I use that, I want sorting based on the descending. Okay. So chronological order in a reverse way. So even I go to a new sheet, even if I drop it here also, so the order will be same. Why? Because that's the default setting that I'm setting for that particular column. So these are these many options that are available. So we can set the aggregation, and we can add comments for specific fields, and we can also change the number format. So I will show you how the number format is getting changed. So if you see the average sales, you are getting it as a number with the 2 decimals. So that also we can change. Go to default properties and click on number format. Okay, so it's in automatic format. And now you go here and select. I want to see 4 decimals after that. And display units. Excuse me. I want to see in K. Okay, and say okay. Okay, so in this way, so whenever I drop sales, so this will show me in K, like K means it is multiplied by 1000. So that means 228.2 only, but I want to see it in K. So this works like when you have 10,000 and 30,000, you have values like that. In such cases, you use that. So you can say it as 10K, 20K, 30K like that. So just to show, I have changed that setting to K. So if you change it to normal, yeah, so you have got 4 decimal places and 228.2259. So in this way, we can control the number format as well. So whenever you drop that particular sales column, you will be able to see that difference. And we have done default coloring, default shape we have changed, and we have also done sorting order as well. Okay, and we have done the aggregation change as well. So where we have to select the measure, and we have gone to the default properties and click on aggregation, and then select the average. So whenever you drop that profit column into your worksheet, then you will be able to see profit as an average. Okay, so how to add default comments for specific fields? So let's go to that dashboard and right click on this. Go to default properties and write comment. Superstore customers with first name and last name. So this is like some information about that column. So this is very important. Like when you want to develop something, like user has to like it is very important for us. If you have hundreds of columns and you want to understand what is the importance of that particular column. So whenever you know something about that column, you just right click on that and put that comment for that, so that it is easier for you. And when you hover on that column, you can see that command. So it's a superstore customers details, and that contains first name and last name. So without putting that column into your rows or columns, you can just hover on that. So this is for our internal purpose. So this is only for our developers. This is nowhere related to the clients. So whatever you put in here, this data will be visible to the users. So whatever you see it here in the data pane, so this is called as a data pane. So whatever you see it here, this is for ourselves. So if you want to organize the data, in a proper way. So that is about this entire session. So organizing the data is our interest. So that way it is easy for us to create the worksheets or the visualizations. So yeah, Santosh, can you tell me the difference between hierarchy and a folder? You can type your answer. Hello. Okay, so this is the information about default comments for specific fields. So in that way, we can put default comments, and so we can put this setting the default number formats. So that we have already discussed. So we should be able to right click on this and go to default properties and click on number format. So here also we can change the number formatting. We can select whichever format that we want to. We want to show the decimal places, and for negative values, you can put negative and minus in the starting, or there are cases where user want to see the negative symbol on the uh, suffix of it instead of prefix, or you can put it in brackets. So that's about how to manage negative values. And display units, you can say k, millions, billions, and billions. And you can there are some standard settings as well. Or if you want to use currency custom, you want to show it in dollars, so that will be, you can put the prefix, and you could copy prefix from somewhere else and put it here. So that is there. And scientific also there, e to the power of something like that. So that way also we can store the data. So that is to change the number format, and setting the default colors, default shape that we have seen, default sort order also we have completed. So that is about how to organize the data in our dashboard. So this is nowhere related to our client information. So client will not have visibility to the organizing the data pin. This is for our understanding on how to manage the data. Like when you have hundreds of records in your data, so it's very hard to get the details of the columns. So it's better we organize the data in such a way that so we can pick the columns and we can do the development in an easy way. So that's about today's session. So we'll continue in the next session. And yeah, so these topics we have covered everything. And in the next sessions, we are going to discuss about more about how the calculation fields are being used, and we will get to know about each and every function. So we will be covering most of the functions. So let's say we click on right click. So these are the functions that we use. So we'll cover most of the functions. Yep. Okay. Okay, Santosh, we'll see in the next session. Wrapping up the session. Thank you.